Hey everybody, Erica Serwin here from Pink Buckaroo Designs. I have a really fun project for you today. It features products from the 2020 annual Stampin' Up! Catalog, as well as products from the 2020, I call it the holiday catalog, but it's officially called the August to December 2020 mini catalog. So the holiday catalog. And I've combined them to make a fun little outdoorsy project. It's actually a slider box, and what better treat to go with a camping stamp set but trail mix. So I'm going to show you how to make this. Let me tell you a little bit about the trail mix. I made this box to fit these perfectly, so my measurements will fit this. Now, you could put anything you want in here. You could do candy, whatever, but the sizes of this box were designed specifically for these. These are from Target, and they actually come in lots of different flavors. They have one for Halloween, they have one for Easter, they have one for Valentine's Day. So this box size will work with all of those. So you can adapt it if you want in the future. Okay, so Campology is the really fun stamp set. I know lots of people are camping this summer. Seems that's the only way we can get out of our houses during the pandemic. And I am also using palette dots. All right, let's get started. And I think what we'll do is we'll make our box first, okay? So now over on my blog, there is a PDF that's going to have all these measurements on it. There's a lot of measurements here. There's a lot of detail that goes into this box, and you're going to need that PDF or the score lines. This is a piece of crumb cake cardstock that is 10 3/4 by 4 3/4. On the long side, I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch, 3 1/4, 6, 6 3/4, 9 1/2, and 10 1/4. Okay, nothing on the short side, just along the long side. Now, let's go ahead and burnish those score lines. We're going to get them nice and crisp. You can use your bone folder, which I actually happen to have. Usually, when I go to make a video, my bone folder is nowhere to be seen. All right, that's going to just keep those edges nice and crisp. All right, now, put it in front of you how you scored it. Remember, we did 1/2 inch first, so that's the left side. That's the side we're going to start on. Now, the slider mechanism is just a piece of cellophane. There's a lot of different things you can use, but I'm going to use a cellophane bag. I've actually made 2 slider boxes already out of it, and I'm going to cut this one again to use. You want it to be narrower than this, okay? And it needs to be long enough to wrap all the way around. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it and go all the way down. You probably can get 2 sliders out of one double-sided piece because the bag was folded in half. Okay, so now I'm going to take it, I'm going to wrap it around this middle part right here. And I want it to be snug, but not tight, okay? That's important because if it's tight, it's gonna not slide as easy. Now you can put tear and tape here, but I'm actually going to use our new Stamp and Seal Plus. I've used it on all the boxes that I made, and it works beautifully. All right, so I'm gonna pull this up to the edge, and I'm gonna wrap this around and press it down. Remember, not too tight, not too loose. Okay, and you could try it out, make sure it's good, and then take your scissors and you're going to clip that off. Okay, all right, so now get it centered, and it looks kind of ugly. It's not even. It doesn't matter. No one will ever see it. I'm going to bring this adhesive right here again, and I've got 2 pieces of crumb cake cardstock. I'm going to double them up to make it thicker. That pull is going to be a little bit thicker. All right, so actually I've got 4 of these, okay? 2 5/8 by 4 5/8. And we're going to double them up. So just stack them up. And on one of them, before we do that, we're going to make a little pull for it, okay? So this one is good. We'll put that one to the side. This is a new punch in the holiday catalog called Banner Pick-a-Punch, and I've just got a 1-inch strip of crumb cake cardstock. I'm gonna stick it in here and I'm gonna punch it, okay? Now I wanna sandwich it between these two right here, okay? So I'm gonna have it sticking out a little bit, and then I can adhere this one down. So that's gonna be the little pull that we have. Now look, I have made a mistake. I've put adhesive too far, so that could be a problem. So you can just rub that off if you are using Stampin' Seal Plus. Okay, so this is one of ours, let's see, I probably should show you. This is the one with the pull. This is the one we're gonna do first, and it's just gonna be flat, and it slides into like a little pocket. But this one has the space for the trail mix, okay? So keep that in mind. And if you need to think it through, which sometimes I do, I kind of put it together and think, okay, this is the flat one over here. This is going to create that bigger space. So I will take this one and we're going to adhere it before we start folding it up. I'm going to put my Stampin' Seal Plus again right there, and make sure you don't go off the edge. If your adhesive goes off the edge, then it's going to stick and it's not going to pull. All right, so line this up right here on the edge, like that. Press that into that adhesive. Again, give it a pull, see how it works. All right, good. Now, we're gonna turn it over. And you know what? I'm actually going to cut off these corners right here. Okay, now, take your Stampin' Seal Plus. And, well, my Stampin' Seal Plus today is just giving me fits. It's very humid, maybe that's why. There we go. I love this adhesive. It is very strong. Now, see what I did? I put that on. I'm folding it over those cards and pressing it in. Okay? So again, give your slider a try. Make sure it's working. Good. Okay, now, here's our other double stacked card. And this time we're going to put the adhesive over here, because when this pulls out, when this one goes that way, this one's going to go this way, okay? So get that nice and centered. Make sure it's in the right place. Put your adhesive on there. And lay that down. Now again, give it a try. Yep, we're still good. Got it going exactly how we want it. Now, here's the tricky part. Again, like we did before, let's cut off those corners just to make sure our cardstock is all flush. We're going to take this tab right here and we're going to adhere it behind this card. Okay, so then just like that, it's going to make that box. And this one, it's so hard to verbalize it, but see how this is like that, and you're going to slide that in there on that side. Okay. All right, so again, Stampin' Seal Plus. And very carefully, because you don't want adhesive in the wrong place. And Stampin' Seal Plus is super strong. You'd have a hard time getting it off. All right, so now I'm going to line those edges up just like that. Okay, now let's give it a try. All right, and that's our box. Isn't that neat? So over here, you're going to get your little snack. And there's several ways you can adhere it. You could put a dimensional on there, a couple of dimensionals, so it sticks. You could do glue dots, or you can take your Tombow and just give it a little bit of adhesive and let it dry. It's then multi-purpose, so then it's kind of a temporary adhesive. Once this dries and it's clear, it will stick kind of like a sticker on there. Okay, so we got to give that time to dry. Okay, let's decorate our box. Now, I need to pull up my grid paper because we're going to stamp that tree, that pine tree, this pine tree right here, right along the edge. This is the area where you would write your sentiment, okay? But I'm just going to put a little, to carry over the theme, I'm just going to kind of ink the edge here and stamp like that. This is Mossy Meadow, like that, okay? And then you have room to write your little message. All right, now for the front. We're gonna do lots of layers in the front. we're going to start with a piece of this new Plaid Tidings Designer Series paper. Ooh, I like that side too. Would that go with cherry cobbler? Not really. I think we'll stick with that side. This pack of paper, let me just show you because I have it sitting right here, is new Designer Series paper, again in the holiday catalog. And it's got all kinds of plaids. So you've got fall plaids, Christmas plaids, just, I mean, masculine plaids. It's a ton of different plaids. So I picked one that would go with this cherry cobbler color, and that's what I'm going to use. I've also cut out of Mossy Meadow a pine tree with new dies also. These are the In the Pines dies. Really like these. We're going to cut a leaf. These are really neat. These are the stitched leaf dies. And so you can see, you can either cut out just a leaf like that, or you can put this part inside to give it more texture, okay? So we're gonna do that in a minute. I'm gonna move that over. Before we do that, let's make our little pine wood plank, if you will, and we'll cut those out at the same time. All right, so remember, this comes from the stamp set called Palette Thoughts. And it's just a big piece of wood. And I have found that I'm using it a ton. All right, let's just stamp it right there. Okay, soft suede ink, soft suede cardstock. All right, let's make some room here. Bring this over. And I am using the Tasteful, oh, now I can't remember the name. These are the Tasteful Label dies. There we go. And I'm just going to cut that out right there. The other thing that we needed to cut out was the leaf. Here it is. Let's see. Can I get them both on here? I think I'm going to have to turn this one this way. I love to get as many die cuts on one swoop through as I can. It's kind of a challenge. All right. There we go. Run that through. Let's go back through for good measure. And look at that. It even leaves the stitching on the outside. Really neat. Pull that one up and you've got a beautiful cherry cobbler fall leaf. Pull this one up and we've got a plank label. All right, good. Now let's move this out of the way. Now, what about the stamp set? We've got to use that awesome stamp set. We're going to use we're going to do the tent and we're going to do the sentiment, okay? And we're going to stamp the tent twice. We're going to stamp it in, Memento Black, lost my train of thought, Memento Black on Whisper White. Okay, and then over here, this is another one of those Tasteful Label dies that I've cut out of Crumb Cake. I'm going to stamp it again because if you see, this stamp has really cool little tent lines. See how it's got those really cool tent lines? I mean, I didn't want to lose that, but I know that I can't fussy cut that. So I put those down there and I'll just fussy cut the tent out of there. Okay, it'll be easier to cut. And then we're going to cut Happy Trails on the Whisper White as well. All right, now let's color our Whisper White tent. I am sticking with Cherry Cobbler. And I'm going to do light cherry cobbler all around, leaving right kind of where that door is. I'm going to leave that white until the very end because I want that to be light. I want it to look like there's a light shining on the inside. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of add some layers. Now, I'm going to go back with my dark cherry cobbler again. And wherever you see these little hash marks, you know that that's where it's going to be darker. And I'm going to go along the edge down here. Okay, now I'm going to bring in that color, blend it over, still leaving that white, blend that down, and then one light coat there on the door. Okay, see how it looks like it's kind of shining? All right, now make sure you put your lids on your Stampin' Blends or they will dry out. Now grab your scissors, and when you fussy cut, you want to use a small pair of scissors. That really lets you get in there in those little nooks and crannies. And I'm going to stick real close to the edge because I am going to glue it down on top of that other tint. I need the black lines to match. Usually when I fussy cut, I say leave a little white cloud around it, but here that would not work. Now, one little tip I'm going to give you, if you look at it, you can see there's a little bit of white around the edges where I cut. So I'm just going to take my light cherry cobbler and I'm just going to give all that little bits of white some color so that it will really just sit down on that tint and you will think that it all goes together. All right, so now a little bit of adhesive and we're going to stick that right there. All right, so now you can see, it looks like you can see the whole thing, but we didn't have to cut out all those little skinny lines and we got the grass on there. Okay, we're almost done. Now, for this one, you could just cut it with a die if you wanted, but I wanted to get kind of fun. I like to cut out the words individually. Kind of like, remember when people would cut letters out of newspapers to make words on notes? That's what that reminds me of when we do that. All right, do I have many dimensionals? No, of course not. Many dimensionals would be your best bet here, but since I don't have them, I'm just gonna cut off some edge here on my regular dimensionals, and we will put these down. Now, you guys, I have two more, hope that needs to go on the bottom, two more Campology projects coming. And these were Facebook Friday projects, which means I did them during Facebook Live. This is a clean recording. And the link will take you over to that blog post where you can find the PDF under the last photo. The PDF's free, has all the dimensions, has all the supplies you need, everything. And you can download that so you'll have it whenever you need it. And then you'll have two other Campology ideas too to use your new Campology stamp set. All right, let's layer up, all right? First, we've got the Designer Series paper. All right, then we're gonna get lots of dimensionals. Let's see. Lots of dimensionals. All right, first you wanna start with your cherry cobbler leaf, and then we'll do our palette label. Okay, right there. And then I'm gonna put the tree right there. You know what I did? Let me just trim that little stem off there to make it fit better. All right, like that. And then we'll put this right there. Now, we're almost done. Our trail mix is pretty much dry. You can see how it's clear. I'm gonna go ahead and stick that on there. Whoops. Okay. Stick that in there right there. Okay, and that will slide in. Let's see. There we go. Very cool. Isn't that neat? What a fun little treat for some Cub Scouts or some, family members who are going hiking. Now we're going to add a bow to that little pull. And this is some of my favorite ribbon right now. It is Early Espresso Faux Suede. And it really does look like suede. Okay. And we will add that with a mini glue dot, but we don't have one, so let's use Tombow. There we go, a little dot, and there you have it. A really fun treat box that is interactive. Remember that these trail mixes came from Target, and again, tons of variety, tons of, they make them for all different holidays. So you could really adapt this treat holder for any time of the year. All right, let me know if you have questions, you guys, and make sure you hop over to my blog and grab that PDF. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.